Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Ann Trujillo. Colorado has a big transportation headache right now, US 36. When the roads started caving, people started asking, are Coloradans going to get stuck paying for it? And what's it going to take to get both sides moving in the right direction again? And how soon? Well, engineers are calling it a rotational failure or a landslide, a portion of the eastbound side of the highway crumbling as the dirt underneath it slides away. We're going to talk to CDOT's chief engineer in just a moment, but first, our crews did a walkthrough of the damaged site along with Governor Jared Polis.
So we're talking about a little less than half a mile here on Highway 36. That's the good news. This is the lead up to the bridge. The bridge is undamaged. The trains are operating under it. It's been load tested. It's still operating. How long of shifts did some of you guys work to get it going?
We've sometimes we pull about 15, 16 hours, if not more.
But what we have here now is thanks to the hard work of the Colorado Department of Transportation employees, many of them working double shifts, day and night. They got 2 lanes going each way. Is it still happening? Is it still cracking, or is it done?
Very much so.
It's still moving? Is there any damage from where the landslide is coming out down below, or is it spreading anywhere else, or just here?
Yes, it is spreading.
I haven't seen anything like this since the 2013 floods, where we had this much worse than this all over.
Trying to find where the water was coming from, looking for evidence of the fill washing out, big plume of dirt somewhere. We couldn't find it. We knew the road was moving, but it wasn't enough to really be evident. We decided, well, this is a landslide. This isn't a sinkhole up in the fill.
But at least it's back to as close to normal flow as possible. I mean, basically it's 2 lanes each way, which is what it was 5 years ago anyway. And for the next month or 2 or 3, however long it takes, a couple months. I know CDOT's really looking into who was responsible for this construction and this defect that they have here, and making sure that those parties are held responsible. But the first priority is enabling people to safely commute and saving them time as they get into work. And so none of that discussion about how to hold parties responsible will delay from getting this fixed and up and going as soon as possible.
Well, Josh Lapley is the chief engineer for CDOT, the one keeping watch on this project right now. And just to clarify, this is structural still. You still view it that, or not structural, I guess I should say. It's a landslide.
Yeah, and I mean, from a hazard standpoint, it is a little bit structural, right? There's a structure to soils and how they work. But in relation to structures, as most of the public sees it, there's a bridge adjacent to it, and the bridge is absolutely fine because the foundations go all the way down to bedrock. So we are talking about more of a geophysical movement.
And what about on the other side? I mean, how do you know it's confined to that one spot?
Sure. So if you looked at both sides, one side is much taller than the other. The side that's much taller is the one that's failing. So the fact that the other side is shorter, there's less soil pressure on top. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is there's what's called a MSE grid, which is mechanically stabilized earth wall. And that goes back about 30 to 40 feet from the face of the wall into the slope, and then it stops. And beyond that, there's some other fill, and then the wall from the other side is reinforced the same way, and none of that has moved and none of that has failed. So from a structural perspective of the soil, it's different, it's separate.
So is it still moving? Is it still sliding?
Yes, yes. And it has been, since Thursday when we first detected the cracks, it's been about 1 inch per hour consistently all the way through.
So I know that a crew has been hired, or a company has been hired. Have they started work, or when will they start work, and what kind of a process are we talking about here?
Sure. So yesterday was kind of the big brainstorming session of how do we fix this, how do we solve it, and how do we do it safely while things are still moving, and how do we keep our crews safe while we're accessing that. They were going to come up with 2 solutions and give us some prices and time frames, because we're not just looking at the low price, we're also looking at how fast can we get it opened as well, and we'll balance those in kind of a best value judgment to say, all right, what's the process moving forward? So I don't know that I have the specifics around that yet. We'll hammer that out throughout today, and we'll try to get them. They've already been out to the site. They're already looking around. They're already trying to figure out what the next steps are. So they're out there, but probably not in the force that you would expect, and you'll see them in the next couple of days.
So when you see a project like that, are you talking weeks, or are you talking months, or are you talking years to get something like that fixed?
It's not years. I can say that confidently.
Okay, that's a good thing, yes.
That's the positive. I think weeks into months, right? I'm thinking, Yeah, until we have that specific plan, you know, I don't want to have that commitment to the public that they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
like
when it's
there's a
opening.
drop-dead date.
And you know, if anybody's remodeled a house, they know that when you start pulling things apart, you find things that you didn't expect to find, and your schedule changes.
So are you thinking 3 months, 6 months? I mean,
I'm comfortable with a 3-month time frame.
okay. Because the Colorado Transportation Commission approved $20 million to do the repairs.
Sure.
Is that just a drop in the bucket, or do you think that it will stay close to that?
I don't think it's a drop in the bucket. Really, at the time that we asked for that, which was yesterday, and things are moving fast on this because we're making progress quickly, what we knew at the time was we don't know how we're going to fix it, but 20 million seems like an appropriate amount to ask for. I don't have any construction estimates that would actually back that up at this point, but we'll have those within the next couple of days. And the next time we go to commission, I'll present back to them, hey, here's the things we're doing, and here's the contracts we're executing. So I don't think it's not necessarily just a drop in the bucket. Hopefully it's enough to cover the entire cost.
This isn't that old. I mean, a lot of us remember this road being built.
Sure.
So who's at fault here? Is there a way to say who's at fault?
Sure, and I will say that's not the first time we've gotten that question. I will tell you right now, we are solely focused on let's get the road built back, let's get it up, let's get it operational, let's keep it safe.
But if the companies who built it are found to have done something at fault?
Sure, so we have an
fall on them?
independent contractor that's going to do a forensics around that, and they'll deal with that side. And if you go down that path, often you know that takes years to bring to fruition, so I'm not worried about the time frame of that right now. I'm worried about the road.
But you know Coloradans are worried about footing the bill.
Understand, and you know, we'll do what's appropriate with taxpayer money to make sure that we protect them always.
And how do you determine cause?
That's that independent contractor. They're going to look at it and say, you know, what's the engineering that needs to go into this? What were the conditions? You know, should we have known about these things? Should we not have known about these things?
30 seconds left. What else do you want to say to the people of Colorado who are frustrated with this
Sure.
project?
You know, I just want to say, please be patient with us. I promise you we are working as fast as we can to get that road back open. We know the implications around shutting down a road. I have to sit in traffic too. We all
love that.
We all don't love to sit in traffic, but we're doing our best, but we're always going to err on the side of safety. So deal with us for a little bit, and I promise we'll get that road back open for you.
Josh Leapley, thank you so much for being here and explaining. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. We'll be right back.